The internet, something we use every single day, often without thinking. It connects billions of people, fuels entire economies, and shapes modern civilization. From the moment our smartphones buzz us awake, to the late-night scrolls through social media, it's become as ingrained in our lives as eating and sleeping. But have you ever stopped to consider what life would be like without it? Imagine a world where knowledge couldn't be accessed in a heartbeat, where connecting with someone across the globe wasn't as simple as pressing a button. Could we even imagine such a world? Join me, Abdul Hafiz, on Oryx, as we explore that very question. What if the internet never existed? Let's start with something we all use every single day, often without a second thought: communication. In this hypothetical world, the instantaneous connection we've come to expect would vanish. No more firing off a quick email, no instant messages popping up on our screens, no FaceTime with family across continents. Remember the days of handwritten letters, the anticipation of waiting for a response, the joy of receiving a tangible piece of correspondence from a loved one? That would be our reality. Without the constant barrage of notifications and updates, we'd be more present in our interactions, savoring the moments spent with friends and family. Distance, however, would take on a whole new meaning. Imagine waiting weeks for news from loved ones overseas, or trying to coordinate a simple meeting without the ease of a group chat. The world would feel much larger, wouldn't it? Businesses would have to adapt, relying on phone calls, faxes, and snail mail to conduct their affairs. The pace of commerce would likely slow down, but would that necessarily be a bad thing? Would we see a resurgence in local trade and face-to-face interactions as a result? Without the internet to rapidly disseminate news, our understanding of the world would be filtered through newspapers, television, and radio, potentially subject to delays, bias, or even censorship. The very flow of information, the lifeblood of a connected society, would be fundamentally different. Now, let's talk about a casualty of this internetless world that might surprise some of you: social media. Imagine a reality where Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter never came to be. This alternate universe would be vastly different from the one we inhabit, shaping our culture, interactions, and even our sense of self in profound ways. The constant pressure to curate an online persona would vanish. No more likes, no more comments, no more comparing ourselves to the carefully constructed lives of others. Would this lead to a healthier sense of self-worth, free from the validation seeking that often permeates the digital world? Without YouTube, Netflix, or Spotify, we'd be turning to television, radio, and live events for our entertainment fix. Imagine a world where the family gathers around the radio for an evening broadcast, or where going to the cinema is the primary way to experience the latest blockbuster. The ability for anyone with a smartphone to become a content creator, to share their voice and stories with the world, would simply not exist. Would we see a return to traditional gatekeepers in media and entertainment? Would the voices of marginalized communities, often amplified through online platforms, be stifled? The internet has undeniably connected us in ways never before imagined, but it's also created a space for cyberbullying, misinformation, and the rapid spread of harmful content. In a world without it, these issues wouldn't simply disappear. Think about the impact on social movements and political discourse. Without the organizing power of social media, would we see a decline in activism? Or would it force people to engage in more direct, offline forms of mobilization? Hold on to your digital wallets, everyone, because in this chapter, we're diving into a world without e-commerce. Imagine a reality where Amazon, eBay, and online banking are nothing more than figments of our imagination. It's a world where brick-and-mortar stores reign supreme and cash is king. Picture this: you need a new book. Instead of a few clicks and 2-day delivery, you'd be browsing the aisles of your local bookstore, perhaps striking up a conversation with a knowledgeable employee or fellow bibliophile. Remember the tactile pleasure of flipping through pages, the scent of old paperbacks? Those sensory experiences would define our shopping trips. Without the ease of online transactions, businesses would be forced to rely on local supply chains and face-to-face interactions. Would this lead to a resurgence in small businesses and local craftsmanship? Would it foster a greater sense of community around commerce? The absence of e-commerce could also have unexpected consequences for developing countries. Without access to global markets, many businesses and entrepreneurs might struggle to compete. The digital divide, already a pressing issue, could widen even further. impacting economic growth and opportunities in significant ways. Without the massive infrastructure required for online retail giants, we might see a reduction in carbon emissions and packaging waste. On the other hand, the increased reliance on physical stores and transportation could lead to higher energy consumption in other areas. The absence of e-commerce would undoubtedly reshape our relationship with consumption, potentially leading to more mindful purchasing decisions and a renewed appreciation for locally sourced goods. Chapter 4. The Future of Knowledge and Learning. Now let's talk about something near and dear to my heart: knowledge. In a world without the internet, the way we access and share information would be fundamentally different. Imagine a reality where the answer to any question isn't just a Google search away, where libraries are the primary gateways to knowledge, and books are our most treasured sources of information. Students, instead of having a universe of information at their fingertips, would be poring over textbooks, engaging in lively classroom discussions, and spending countless hours in the stacks of their school libraries. Field trips to museums and archives would be essential to learning, providing first-hand experiences that couldn't be replicated online. The role of educators would be more crucial than ever. As the curators of knowledge, they would guide students through carefully selected materials, fostering critical thinking skills and a deep understanding of the subject matter. The teacher-student relationship would be paramount in this world, emphasizing mentorship and personalized instruction. However, this reliance on physical resources would create challenges. Access to information wouldn't be equal. Remote communities and underfunded schools might struggle to provide the same level of resources as their more affluent counterparts, potentially exacerbating existing inequalities. Scientific research would also take on a different pace. Chapter 5. Technology and Innovation Without the Internet. Fasten your seatbelts, because in this chapter we're venturing into the realm of technology and innovation in a world without the internet. It's a world where the digital landscape as we know it simply doesn't exist, forcing us to rethink the very trajectory of technological advancement. Imagine a world without smartphones, laptops, or the ubiquitous presence of the microchip. The devices we rely on for communication, entertainment, and even basic tasks would be radically different if they existed at all. Would we have developed alternative technologies to fill the void, or would our technological progress have taken a completely different path? The development of artificial intelligence, for example, would likely be significantly hindered. Without the massive datasets and computational power provided by the internet, AI algorithms would lack the fuel needed to learn and evolve. Would this lead to a world where human intelligence reigns supreme, or would it simply delay the inevitable rise of intelligent machines? Space exploration, another field heavily reliant on the internet for communication and data analysis, would also face significant hurdles. Without the ability to transmit information instantly across vast distances, missions would require greater autonomy and onboard processing power. Would this have slowed down our exploration of the cosmos, or would it have fostered the development of even more resilient and independent spacecraft? The absence of the internet would also impact the way we approach problem-solving and innovation. Without the ability to crowdsource ideas, access open-source software, or collaborate with experts around the world, innovation might become more localized and specialized. Chapter 6. Could a world without the internet be better? Now, for the question that's been lingering in the back of our minds throughout this entire journey, could a world without the internet actually be a better place? It's a question that sparks debate and contemplation, forcing us to confront the complex relationship we have with this ubiquitous technology. Imagine a world where the constant barrage of notifications and updates ceases, where we're no longer bombarded with news headlines, social media updates, and the endless stream of information that often leaves us feeling overwhelmed and anxious. Would this digital detox lead to a calmer, more peaceful existence? Without the pressure to maintain an online persona, to curate the perfect feed and project an idealized version of ourselves, we might find ourselves more present in the real world. Conversations would flow more freely, relationships would deepen, and we might rediscover the simple joys of face-to-face interaction. Imagine evenings spent reading books, engaging in hobbies, or simply enjoying the company of loved ones, free from the distractions of the digital world. The pace of life might slow down, allowing for reflection, contemplation, and a deeper connection to the world around us. The internet has connected us in ways that were unimaginable just a few decades ago. It's broken down geographical barriers, fostered cross-cultural exchange, and given a voice to the marginalized and underrepresented. Would a world without it be a more fragmented and isolated place? The internet's legacy. The internet is one of the most transformative inventions in human history, shaping how we live, learn, and communicate. From instant communication to the vast digital economies it fuels, its impact is undeniable. But as we've explored, could we live without it? And if we had to start over, knowing what we know now, would we build it the same way? The internet, for all its flaws, has connected us, empowered us, and opened up a world of possibilities.